Welcome back to Living Off Grid. I am your host, Lucia, and when you're listening to this, I am probably somewhere over London, or maybe I've already arrived, depending on whether or not you listen to this on a Wednesday. But I just wanted to thank you so much for tuning in either way. And I do want to take a few minutes to just say thank you to everyone who listens to the podcast. Many of you I have never met in person before, and some of you are family members and have no idea the kind of life that I've lived or just don't know anything about me. So I just really want to say that I appreciate you. And to anyone that has shared my podcast, I want to thank you as well. That means so much to me. This is something that I want to continue doing, and of course, I will be doing while I'm traveling. So I hope that, you guys get to hear a little behind the scenes of what's going on. Um, because while I want to talk about other subjects, obviously, what's currently happening in my life also has a lot to do with the podcast. This trip is so important to me, and as I stated in the prior episode, that I've wanted to do this for a really long time, and it's so important to do something for yourself, whether it's small or big, and the more you love yourself, the more you realize how much you can give to yourself and also give to other people. But sometimes we're so focused on giving our time and ourselves to other people that we don't give ourselves enough attention and enough love and give ourselves exactly what you give to others. It is so important to take the time to love yourself, to take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and know that that is number one, no matter what. You have to be okay for yourself in order to be okay for other people. And part of that is doing things that you love or doing things for yourself that are nice, you know? And I don't mean it has to be extravagant or luxurious or materialistic. It just means that it's okay to worry about yourself and about your dreams and about the things that you want to do, because nobody will do them for you. You have to create the life that you want in order to just be happy. And that can mean so many things. Some people don't even take the time to make coffee in the morning, or you're in a rush, or you just don't get to indulge in those little things that life has to offer that are so simple. And sometimes the simple things, we just overlook them as being just normal or mundane part of life. But all those things can be wonderful. Every aspect of your life can be good. Even in the chaos, it can be good. And a lot of it has to do with loving yourself and realizing that you deserve the things that you want. And that's, sure, it's materialistic, but it goes beyond that. It's about love or anything that you want in your life, whether that's a relationship or something materialistic or an experience or time. And we need to take that into consideration. We focus sometimes so much on other people, and that's a wonderful thing, but it's okay to worry about yourself. It's okay to love yourself. And for me, somebody who's been wanting to travel for such a long time, it took me years to realize that my life is my own. And the only way I will be able to live my dreams is to make them happen. And in order to make them happen, sacrifice happens, right? Because that's time away from your family, people that you love. But there has to be balance in life. Without the balance, then everything becomes overwhelming and it becomes chaotic and really doesn't serve people in the way that it should in order to have happiness in their lives. There needs to be a shift, which is something that we're not used to, and slowing down and taking every moment in. If we live every moment intentionally, that is when we take it all in and just really indulge in all that is happening in the moment. That feeling is amazing. And I think I mentioned this, and I think probably the first episode or the second episode, that I wanted to speak about intentional living. And I will probably talk about that in the next episode. But part of intentional living is just being in the moment in whatever you're doing, whether you're taking a shower, whether you're making your coffee, if you're watching TV, if you're at the beach and you don't even think about the sand on your feet, or just, sometimes we listen to the waves, but we're not really taking in everything around us at once and picking it apart to where you get to just sit with that, sit with how it feels, sit with how it smells. And if we just looked at every aspect of life in that way, it could be so much more incredible. There's a term now that people use, and it is romanticizing your life. When you see a movie and everything is perfect and happy and skipping down the street and everything is wonderful, being the main character of your life. And, it sounds corny to just your average person. And I would have thought it was corny too until I started living that way naturally, from healing and really looking inside yourself and outside of yourself and being grateful for your life and being grateful for every moment. You naturally live your life in that mode because you realize that, yes, there are bad things happening around us and bad things in our lives, negative things, but most of the time, in the moments that we are living in present time, everything is okay in that moment, you know? And if we just bask in that moment, you will live so blissfully. It sounds insane. And I know I say this in my podcast that I'm like, man, like, everything that I say may sound insane because sometimes I don't even believe the things that are coming out of my mouth, only because it seems so far-fetched and it's also so far from the person that I used to be. But I feel that way. I feel like I am living in a movie. Everything that I do feels better. It seems more exaggerated, but it's because I am taking the time to be grateful for it and really pay attention to what it brings into my life. And that has to do with music and, the books that I read and the things in my apartment. Everything has a purpose. Everything I have in my home has a place of its own, and it is with intention. Like, I have a corner to just read and write, but that is for reading and writing about just, random things. It's not really to sit there long form writing or anything like that. Or sometimes I sit in that corner and I listen to music. And that's the intention that I set for that corner. I don't have just furniture here and there and just to look pretty. Everything has a purpose. And because everything has a purpose, whenever I'm using it, I can be grateful for it, use it with intention, and it brings me happiness and joy when I use it. It's not just something that just looks pretty. And once I started thinking like this and switching my brain and really taking in every moment, it seemed that everything was more HD. It felt like I was looking at the world through some, I don't know, some like enhanced lenses. It was insane. Everything seems more colorful. The sounds are sharper. I am able to live presently in the moment with people, or just anything that I'm doing. And it's so great. And I feel like that even when I'm doing this podcast, it's me just sitting here. Like right now, I'm just sitting in my living room and just talking through my earpiece as if I'm having a conversation with somebody. And in this moment, I'm grateful because I know somebody on the other side is listening. And even if nobody was listening, just the fact that I'm enjoying this and I'm getting things off of my chest that I've wanted to, share with other people, there's no feeling like it. And I really hope that a lot of you are living your life with intention and being grateful for the things that you have. Because more likely than not, your life is pretty great and things could always be worse. I always think about that. And it's not to say your feelings aren't valid or the things aren't valid in your life that are terrible or is a hardship. It's more about giving perspective that yes, things can be rough, but they can also be beautiful. And you can turn those terrible moments and make them beautiful. And for me, a lot of my pain came from other people wanting to destroy my life, maybe indirectly in the moment, but also very directly, because when you mess with somebody's life, it's so personal that is direct. And I was so fixated on being miserable and having so much pain that I let myself live in pain and misery. And I wasted so much time on seeing the world as crappy and seeing people as being shitty, excuse my language. But once I switched my way of thinking, I felt so much happier. Once I realized that bad things are always happening, but within all of that, the good is so much greater, then I told myself, hey, life is pretty good. It could be worse. I am alive, and that's what's important. And I'm going to end the podcast here. Just wanted to give you a reminder that if you are alive, you're already lucky. If you are loved by a family member or a friend or a partner, you're already lucky. If you love yourself and only yourself, you're also very lucky. And there's so many things that we can be grateful for that we don't pay attention to, that if we did, it would completely change our lives and our perspective on life. Again, there will be a bonus episode because I have to talk about Scotland. There's no way I can just, skip over that and continue the podcast as if nothing new is happening in my life. So, yeah, that will be coming very soon. And thank you again for listening. Hopefully this was pretty good. I'm talking directly into my earpiece, and I wanted to test it out because that's exactly how I will be recording in the UK. I'm not taking all of my gear because then I would need a lot more space, and didn't really want to do that. So hopefully this works out, and thank you again for listening, and I wish you guys the best life ever. Keep following your dreams. You're totally worth it, and send me a message. Let me know that you listened to this. All right? Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Living Off Grit. Bye.